Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Ari from One of a Kind Bulldogs. I wanted to do some video series on some important topics that I feel like us breeders have dealt with or will deal with at some point. So the first one is the dreaded P word. Yes, canine parvovirus. If you're a breeder and you have not ever dealt with parvo, great, I'm happy for you. But this is probably good stuff to listen to just in case you ever do. First, quick rundown, what is parvo? Obviously, you can do an internet search on these basics, but I'll give you a quick summary. It is a virus that attacks the stomach lining. Basically, from the moment your puppy shows symptoms, which will usually be diarrhea and vomiting, they typically have anywhere from 3 to 5 days to survive. Parvo is very quick. Most people feel like they have flu-like symptoms and avoid going to the vet the first day or two, and that is crucial. That is the difference between your dog surviving and not. If I remember correctly, you're looking at over 95% survival rate if you get treatment immediately. Now, what is the treatment? Treatment will typically be, it's a virus, so you're not able to cure the virus. You're just helping them fight through it, helping avoid secondary infections. So you're treating the symptoms. Typically, you're going to have them on fluids since they're getting so dehydrated. Usually they do Serenia, anti-vomit injection every 24 hours. Typically you're going to do metronidazole. Some vets like to use Tamiflu, although the studies aren't very consistent on it. And then obviously you're going to want to do some type of antibiotic to avoid secondary infection, usually some type of penicillin or something. Typically if your dog can make it past day 5, they're usually free and clear. So all right, so now we know what this virus is. That's the basics. We're going to first talk about preventing this virus from entering your yard, preventing this virus from becoming an issue at your kennel. First off, vaccinations. Vaccines work. Start vaccinating your puppies. Most breeders know about Neopar. Neopar is the only vaccine for parvo that you can give under 6 weeks. I usually do Neopar at 5 weeks, and then from there I do 5-way boosters at 7 weeks, 9 weeks, 12 weeks, and now I also do one at 16 weeks to be safe. Obviously, vaccines won't matter if your kennel already has the virus here, because odds are your puppies will get infected before those vaccines do their job. And then we'll give a quick rundown of how these vaccines work. When puppies get the colostrum from their mom, they get those maternal antibodies, and those maternal antibodies are usually strong enough to fight off most things that we deal with young puppies. Now, the moment those maternal antibodies wear off, they have open immunity. Now, maternal antibodies wear off on dogs at all different ages. Some studies show as early as 4 or 5 weeks, some as late as 12, 13 weeks. We need 2 sets of shots in that puppy after mom's maternal antibodies wear off. Any shot given before that is basically broken apart by those antibodies. So you can do something called a titer test. You can call your local vets and see if they do parvo titer tests. This would be a test that will check for the antibodies and see if your dog is already immune to parvo, so you don't have to keep doing shots. So that's the basics of how the vaccines work. Obviously, if the puppies are infected before they've given all those shots, doesn't really help. Now you're going to have to go to the treatment plan. Now, also as a preventative is routine disinfecting and cleaning. Disinfecting also has to be cleaning first. You don't just go and bleach everything. First, you want to clean, you want to pick up all the particles, you want to pick up all the scraps, and then from there, what a lot of people don't realize is that after a while, just from dirt and not cleaning, you get what we call small microfilm over everything. That microfilm somewhat prevents full penetration. So you should always clean first. The process should be clean, pick up debris, use soap, scrub, get to the point of clean, because cleaning and disinfecting is 2 different things. After cleaning, then becomes disinfecting. If you own a kennel, you should be disinfecting regularly. Over here, once a month, we are bleaching the entire property, all the dog runs and everything. Now, every day, we spray and wishy-wash the kennel area. Now, some of these products I talk about, I'll provide links for. Wishy-wash is a chlorine-based system. It's safe, it's easy to use, and it's very cost-effective. Every kennel should be using the wishy-wash system. So now, in line with preventatives, what I recommend to all breeders is have some type of safety protocol every time you go to the vet. I don't take puppies to the vet. I have a house call vet who comes here and examines all my puppies. The reality is the vet has every single disease, illness, and virus you are trying to avoid. So taking puppies with open immunity to the vet, it's a gamble. You're playing Russian roulette right there. So work on finding a good house call vet, one who will come there and examine your puppies on site. That way you don't have to risk exposure. But if you're a breeder and you have numerous dogs, the fact is you're going to have to go to the vet once in a while, whether it be with your adult dogs or an emergency vet. So my standard protocol, what I leave in the car is some rescue spray. So what I like to keep on hand, I use rescue spray. It's a disinfectant. It's common what you'll see at vets' offices. And I will tell you why I use rescue over bleach for my routine stuff in a minute. But what you're going to want to do is get an amber bottle, a glass amber bottle. I'll share a link to the ones I use on Amazon. Reason I use the glass amber bottles, if you use a plastic bottle, it will sweat. It'll get bigger and smaller due to the heat, and it'll just start dripping everywhere, and you'll just have a mess sitting in your car. So you're gonna get a glass amber bottle, rescue spray, and you're gonna mix a batch, and you're gonna leave this spray bottle in your car at all times. My routine when I take an adult to the vet, take the adult, if it's big enough for me to carry, or small enough for me to carry, usually anything 60 pounds or less, I will pick the dog up, I will put it on the scale in there, I will pick the dog up and put it on the table at the vet's office. I do not want my dog walking around that vet's office. From there, when I'm done, I will take the dog, put him in the back of my car. I will use some baby wipes, spray some rescue on it, and just do a quick wipe down of its feet from when it did stand on the scale or if it walked around. Sorry, dogs are howling. So I will wipe the dog's feet down, and then I will spray down the bottom of my shoes with the rescue spray, and I have rubber floor mats on the driver's seat of my cars, so I will soak those floor mats and the pedals. So this way my shoes are basically soaking in that rescue spray for the drive home. Last thing you need to do is go to the vet to help one of your dogs and then come home to a catastrophe. So have these preventative measures. Use that spray bottle if you ever walk into the pet store, whether it's Petco, PetSmart, all these places. These places harbor disease. People go to dog parks and walk into these stores on the regular. So anytime you walk into the pet store, the vet, a dog park, anywhere where you feel like dogs congregated, disinfect your shoes. Better safe than sorry. Other preventative measures. I don't let people pet my puppies here. It's one of those things where I don't know if they went to the shelter, if they went to another breeder's house. When people come here, they get to view the puppies from a distance. They don't get to pet them or anything like that. This is a risk. This is the downside of an invisible virus. When you can't see something, it's really difficult to fight it. So it's always better to be safe than sorry. Also, when I have high traffic times, when it's puppy season for me, and in the summertime, I typically leave a bleach pad in the front. I use one of those artificial turf pee pads for dogs, and we put that in the front, and we just pour bleach and water in it, and we have everybody step in it before they walk on the property. I'll share a link for that item as well. So there's some basics on trying to prevent parvo. Now, let's go into the scenario that you got infected with parvo. I'll talk about my experience a couple years ago. A customer of mine neglected to abide by my contract, and she dropped off one of our dogs at the shelter. The moment I found out, I told her to bring the dog to me immediately. Big mistake. I do not regret doing right by this dog, but obviously it bit me in the ass. When she brought the dog, it was not sick. It never showed any sickness, but it tracked the virus from the shelter to my property. By the time we realized it, it had spread everywhere, outside, inside, and it infected numerous litters. Unfortunately, I dealt with a new strain of this virus, the 2C strain. I'm going to tell you the irony of it. That's my last name. But this strain also attacked the cardiovascular system. So this was way more deadly, it hit harder, it hit faster, and there's a few puppies that survived and mysteriously just died of heart issues about a week after surviving parvo. So my motto here was, we're going to go nuclear, and that's what we did. Overkill is the only kill when you're dealing with parvo. So my recommendation is do everything in the power of threes. Everything you're going to read online says you need to bleach, and everything needs to sit in bleach for 10 minutes. That's the bare minimum. You can't do the bare minimum in this scenario. So what we did is we used 3 products. We used bleach, we used tirfectant, and we used rescue disinfectant spray. So first we did bleach in a pump sprayer, and we saturated this entire home. I had a process where we did the home first and then the yard. So we saturated the home, saturated the floors with the pump sprayer, let it sit for about 15 minutes, then got a Swiffer and moved it all around, made sure it got in between all the cracks, all the grout lines, every little speck of floor was touched. And then we also got wet rags with bleach, and we went and basically wiped anything from head height down where we could have possibly touched in the past week. Door handles, door ledges, countertops, pretty much everything. Obviously, too, also for clarification, before we did any of the disinfecting, we did a deep cleaning. We cleaned all the floors, we scrubbed everything, and we got to the point of clean, and then we went to the disinfecting. Now, the second disinfecting, we basically did the same thing, but this time we used tirfectant. Filled the pump sprayers, saturated everything, hit all the walls, let it sit for about 20 minutes, moved it all around, let it sit a little bit longer, and then dried everything up. Now, the third step, we used rescue spray. Rescue is a common disinfectant, as I was telling you, that you guys will see at all the vets' offices. But for this, I bought a backpack fogger. This was crucial. It made things a lot easier, and it made sure that I had aerosol, like a fog that was filling in the whole house, so everything was being touched. With the backpack fogger, we put on some goggles, masks, and we basically fogged the crap out of this house. I would estimate for about 20 minutes it was foggy in here. And then we did the same thing with that. We came through and we moved it all around on the floors, made sure it wiped everything down, and then we cleaned. I went a little bit more beyond that. I bought medical grade UV system, and I did UV lights on every single bedroom, and I did a buddy of mine owns an infectious disease company, and he came over and he ran his activated hydrogen peroxide Steramist machine through the home and through my ducts. So it was quite an experience. Now, we did the home first, so now we had the issue of we needed to make sure we didn't bring anything from outside. So at that point, the moment we did that, we put our bleach pads in front of every single door. Every time people walked in, they stepped in those bleach pads, they took their shoes off, and they walked inside barefoot. And then the next process was a week of attacking the backyard and the dogs. So that was pretty strenuous. The first day, what we did was we bathed all the dogs. We bathed them all with Wysi wash. It was chlorine-based, so we knew if they had any parvo, we've at least rinsed it off and helped kill it. Now, from there, while we were bathing all the dogs, we also did a deep cleaning of the kennel area. We used a foam cannon, pressure washer, got the microfilm off, and got the place as clean as we possibly could before disinfecting. The dogs did stay cooped up for about a week, which sucked, but that was because we spent 7 days straight bleaching the entire 2 acres that we use here. We bleached every single day from 9 to 5. We probably went through about 10 gallons of bleach to 20 gallons of bleach daily. And then after that, we even did 2 days of a foam cannon and disinfecting everything with tirfectant spray. Once that was done, we did do a bath with the dogs one more time. just to be safe. And we used, again, the wysi wash, and then after that we kind of did medicated baths to help mitigate, giving them baths in chlorine type water. So this was our routine. It was definitely a lot of work. And I do feel like we succeeded because, knock on wood, no issues after that. But yeah, these are things you should be taking into factor. If you are a breeder, disease control and management should be on the top of your list. Everything is great until it's not, and you are dealing with an outbreak and you're watching your life's work crumble in front of you. So get ahead of it. If it's one of those, if you haven't disinfected your yard in a while, maybe after watching this video, you can go to Home Depot and pick up a bunch of bleach and just stand out there with one of those hose attachments and get it done. So any of the items I talked about will be linked here. If you guys have any questions, post comments on here. I'll do my best to respond. Thanks again for watching.